From a customer's perspective, there's nothing more important than your packaging, the way you package your shipments, right? So today we want to really go back into the Amazon FBA packaging requirements 101, if you will, just sort of understand what really is important and why is it important for your business, for your Amazon FBA business. So let me give you an overview here. So why does correct packaging for Amazon FBA matter? I mean, you might be probably thinking, well, it is, it is logical that packaging is important, but there are reasons why you really want to pay attention to your Amazon FBA packaging. Okay. Unfortunately for sellers, it's not just a question of packing your items into your box, into any box for that matter, that you have lying around and sending that package off to Amazon. Amazon has some specific packaging requirements for their FBA clients, okay? And it may seem onerous at first, but when you really think about the implications of bad packaging, it's really just common sense, okay? So poorly packaged goods can be damaged in transit. Think about that, okay? Poorly labeled goods may get lost or mixed up. I mean, Amazon is a behemoth. You have no idea about the millions of packages they process every month. So poorly labeled goods may get lost or mixed up. Overpackaged goods are wasteful and damaging to the environment. Okay, and poor packaging could negatively impact the reputation of your business, because again, you're in business with your Amazon FBA business. You are in business and you want loyal customers. So the whole thing here is that you want to establish a long-lasting relationship with those clients. Okay, so when you think about those four, there are many more though, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to limit my analysis to those four. So those 4 points are all fair points. So Amazon, because of that, takes its packaging requirements seriously, and there are penalties for suppliers who fail to comply. For example, Amazon may dispose of your inventory and even block future shipments to its fulfillment centers. Okay, and so this is really what you don't want to have. You don't want to be in that situation, by the way. And improperly labeled products may be marked as unsellable, and you might be slapped with a non-compliance fee. Not good. Not good. So here is the approach I really want you to really have right now when it comes to your Amazon FBA packaging. Okay, here is the approach. But before I give you the approach, please welcome back to the show. I really it's really a pleasure to have you here in today's conversation. And we really hope that you will be able to understand and take from this show the most important thing, which is you need to comply with Amazon FBA packaging requirements, and most importantly, how you should do it. So when we talk about Amazon packaging requirements, it's really easy to be overwhelmed by the detail of the requirements. Okay, but the thing is that if you actually just simply break them down into categories by type of product and shipments, they make a lot of sense. In addition to that, the Amazon website has a comprehensive health service within Seller Central that can actually provide you with advice on packaging, for example, prep requirements, for example, labeling, everything like that. Okay, and the cool thing is there are even video tutorials with links into more detailed technical information and plenty of resources to help you learn the ropes. So, but the thing I want to say here is that if you have questions, we are also here. Our team is also here to help you out. Okay, just drop the question below. We'll certainly answer you. And so remember that requirements can change at any time. So you want to stay informed and check back in often, especially in terms of those links and those video tutorials. Okay, and so Amazon specs cover general packaging requirements and additional for particular categories, including loose products requirements for items sold as sets, boxed units, and particular packaging materials. Okay, so let me just quickly go through them for you. So basically, if you want to package products for Amazon FBA, remember that all items must be wrapped individually. Very important. There must be 2 inches of cushioning between each item and the interior of the box. All products must be packaged in a secure 6-sided box. Flaps must be functional and intact. If you are using pallets, each pallet must be labeled 4 times. Labels should be placed on the center of each side. All boxes on the pallet must also be labeled individually. Each box must include its own FBA shipping labels, so this can be found in the shipping queue or on Seller Central. If using a master carton, you must actually you will need to place your unique shipping label on the master carton. Okay, you may reuse boxes, but they must be rigid and free from old shipping labels or markings. And use a single address label clearly marked with the proper delivery and return information. This is really important. And so Amazon must have a return address in order to properly manage your inventory. Okay, this is really important to not actually underestimate this. And one thing I also want you to think about is that you need to actually find a way to reduce delays by choosing boxes that are at least 6 by 4, okay, by 1, and at least 1 pound in weight. And actually to try to keep it under 25 inches on any given side, or under 50 pounds. And use approved packaging labels to approve the packaging materials like polyethylene, foam sheeting, bubble wrap, air pillows, and sheets of paper. And don't use packing peanuts, foam strips, crinkled wrap, styrofoam, or shredded paper. And try to use approved boxes such as the RSC, D-Flute, ECT32, and 200-pound square inch burst strength boxes. Those are really important. And the thing is, remember that each individual unit must be labeled properly according to a few standards. Okay, so products must be packaged in accordance with the category in which they're sold. If you are selling a multi-pack, this must be clearly labeled as such. And products over 10 pounds, products that fail a 3-foot drop test, or particularly vulnerable products may require overboxing to secure the package. Overboxing is really important. So when packaging in cases, each case must contain the same number of identical products with the same SKU. So you may include up to 150 items per case maximum, okay? Maximum. And in terms of expiration date must be labeled clearly in month, days, and year format when applicable. So when we talk about the general packaging rules, remember something called FNSKU. So this is the Fulfillment Network Stock Keeping Unit. So this actually identifies a product as a fulfillment by Amazon product and by an SKU. So FNSKUs must be unique, corresponding to only one product. Okay, so this is important to remember. So sellers who market similar items, where the only differences between the products are size, shape, or color, must give each product variation, okay, a new FNSKU. Also think about tracking. So each package must have an exterior barcode or label which may be scanned for easy tracking. So the label must be accessible and readable. So there may be different requirements for certain items under a given category. Okay, so when we talk about loose products, boxed units, polybag units, and expiration dates, very important to remember that. Let me give you a few pro tips here. Okay, so what are the general packaging requirements? By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a tutorial on Amazon FBA packaging requirements. Okay, I'm just giving you everything you need to know, and it's important to understand that each unique product or unit must have a unique FNSKU. I just made that. Okay, I made that point. But the thing that's important here is that each unit must have an exterior scannable barcode with corresponding readable numbers that are easily accessible. You can use either use manufacturer barcodes, for example, GCID, UPC, EAN, or ISBN, or Amazon barcodes. And you can use your ASIN or FNSKU. Okay, and what's really important to understand is that Amazon is tracking those requirements over time. So existing barcodes on the outside of shipping boxes must be rendered unscannable. Okay, so this can be done by covering the redundant code with tape or by using a black felt tip to actually block it out. So this ensures that the incorrect barcode cannot be accidentally scanned, and you don't want that anyway. You don't want the incorrect barcode to be scanned accidentally. Okay, and each unit, including multiple volume book sets, must be contained within a single secure package. So those are things I want you to really keep in mind. And units may not include multiple pieces required assembly by Amazon. And units not contained in secure packaging must be bagged or secured with tapes. So the whole thing here is that Amazon is thinking about safety. They're thinking about trackability. Amazon is thinking about compliance. So they have a different things that they're looking at here, and that you have to also keep in mind. Okay, so now when we talk about approved packaging materials, Amazon can provide packing materials for you which meet their own requirements, and you can get Amazon preferred poly bags, boxes, stretch wrap, bubble packs, and other materials directly from Amazon. That's really good. And US based sellers can also get free supplies from UPS, FedEx, and USPS, provided the seller is using those services to send products to Amazon fulfillment centers. So in terms of Amazon FBA approved standard boxes, you can't just use any box to ship to Amazon FBA. You need to stick to the following. So regular slotted carton, B flute, ECT32, so this is the edge crush test, and 200 BH, the burst strength. So Amazon FBA approved packaging materials, those include foam sheets or cushioning, air pillows, bubble wrap, and full sheets of paper. Now let's have a decision here. What I want you to really think about when you have a clear idea about your Amazon FBA packaging, you need to actually remember that Amazon has some general labeling requirements also, because when we talk about packaging, we're talking about actually the container, but also the labeling. Okay, the labels you need for Amazon FBA must meet the following criteria. So product labels must all include the exact same product title, use no more than 50 characters. You want to capitalize the first letter of each word, but do not use all caps. Do not use all caps, okay? And symbols and special characters are not allowed, and promotional titles are not allowed. So and Amazon is really strict on those requirements, okay? And when we talk about FBA items sold as sets, what happens here? Well, units that are sold as sets must be marked as sets on their packaging and clearly labeled to that effect. For example, you can just put sold as set or part of a set. Do not separate, okay? Units must be sealed so that sets cannot be separated. And what about FBA items sold as boxed units? So if you intend to ship boxed set to Amazon FBA warehouses, make sure to follow these instructions. So boxed units must be 6-sided and must have openings that will not easily open on their own. If the box can be easily opened on its own, you want to have staples, for example. Okay, you can use staples or adhesives, and the box must not collapse when medium pressure is applied to any of the sides. If the box unit has perforated sides or openings, it must pass a 3-foot drop test. And so this actually consists of 1 drop on each side and 1 drop on a corner. So this is important. If the product does not pass the test, it must be placed in a poly bag with a suffocation warning. Boxes containing multiple standard-sized items must not exceed 25 inches on any side, and the limit may be exceeded if the box contains oversized units that measure longer than 25 inches. Okay, and boxes may not actually exceed the standard weight limit of 50 pounds unless they contain one single oversized item that exceeds 50 pounds. And boxes containing jewelry or watches must not exceed 40 pounds. So those are really limitations that are really important. And also you have the FBA case packed products. So those are also to send case packed product to Amazon FBA. Make sure your items actually meet certain criteria. So all products in the box must have a matching SKU, and condition must have been packaged by the manufacturer. Boxes with the same product must contain equal quantities of that product in the box and contain no more than 150 units per case. So when receiving this type of shipment, the fulfillment center scans 1 unit from the box, and the box is then placed in the inventory. And in some cases, multiple case packs may be packed into a larger box called a master carton. So this is really important. Let me actually talk to you a little bit about the requirements for poly bags. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about Amazon FBA packaging requirements. I'm giving you an in-depth tutorial here, okay? So when we talk about polybags, what is the conversation about here? So if to use an Amazon FBA polybag for protecting items, you must follow these instructions. So polybags with a 5-inch opening or larger, measured when actually flat, must have a suffocation warning either printed on the bag or attached as a label. Really important, okay? And Amazon has precise requirements for minimum suffocation warning, label print size corresponding to the length plus width of the bag. The thickness of the bag must be at least 1.5 millimeters. The polybag must be transparent. The polybag must have a barcode or XOO label that is scannable through the bag to have an XOO or ASIN label on the outside of the bag. And the polybag must be completely sealed. Completely sealed. The polybag or shrink wrap must not protrude more than 3 inches past the dimensions of the products. So this is really important, and you can actually use polybag alternatives as long as they meet this requirements. If you want more environmentally friendly options, for example, there are plant-based polybags and biodegradable polybags. Also, think about expiration dates, another important element. So do your products have expiration date? If yes, make sure to follow these rules. So products that expire must include the expiration date on the master carton in 36 points or larger font, and on individual units, expiration dates must be in the format month, days, or year, or month and year. The expiration date must be accessible to Amazon during the receiving process, even when the product is subject to additional packaging requirements, for example, for fragile items. Okay, and so in terms of specialized items, there are specific wrapping and preparation specifications for particular products in addition to what I just told you. So these products include products containing liquids. You have powders, pellets, and granular products, glass, ceramic, and other breakable or fragile units. You have batteries, you have plush units, you have sharp units, you have clothing, fabric, and textiles. You have jewelry, you have plexiglass, and baby products. Okay, so those are things that I want you to think about. So specific wrapping requirements for each product can be found in Amazon Seller Central. Very important. Now let's talk about the FBA packaging checklist. See, the whole thing here is that when we talk about Amazon the packaging, you need to understand that that checklist is constantly changing. Okay, that nothing is always like very static here. So with fulfillment by Amazon, it's important to understand that there are some general prep requirements of shipping FBA inventory to Amazon fulfillment centers. And also you need to know the specific product categories that require unique prep. It's also important to take FBA product restrictions into consideration. Okay, so what you want to do here is you want to actually sit there with your team or with yourself, and you want to have a clear idea of what you're doing. Okay, so there are no surprises whatsoever. And so here is a helpful checklist for preparing your Amazon FBA packaging. So please make sure your boxes are rigid and have flaps intact. This is the first thing we're telling all our business clients. You really would need to make sure those boxes must be rigid. And what you want to do is you want to wrap each item individually. Use strong shipping tape. It has to be strong, okay? And you want to don't use string or paper over wrap, not at all. You want to use a single address label with clear delivery and return information. This is not only good for Amazon staff, but also in transit, they want to be able to monitor everything and to track everything. Okay, so use a single address label with clear delivery and return information. You want to use at least 2 inches of cushioning between each of your items and inside of the box. Okay, and this is not only in terms of safety, but also in terms of the preventing damages in transit. And do not bundle several boxes together. This is really a transit hazard that Amazon does not like. So please don't do this. Don't bundle several boxes together. And scannable barcodes should be covered or removed when reusing a retail box to ship different products. So this is really important. So this is the checklist I want you to have when you are actually shipping to you're shipping to Amazon FBA. You need to have this at all times. Let's also talk about an important element here, which is basically you have done everything. You are ready So let's just, do the actual shipment here. It's really important to understand that once you have actually familiarized yourself with all the Amazon FBA packaging requirements, it's time to get started, right? Now, we recommend that you make yourself a checklist of the packaging requirements that apply to your specific shipments, because your shipment might be different from others, and it's really important that you have a clear idea what the requirements are for your specific shipments. That way, you don't overlook anything and you can step yourself through the process easily. And make sure you have plenty of time for that first shipment, though, because things happen, and you might actually make a mistake. Please do not rush things. So the processes will become second nature over time, and you will need to spend less time on it in the future. But the first time, just give yourself extra time. Make sure that you have the right basic equipment. In addition to your packaging material, zeros, 12, you have to think about the things like laser printer, shipping labels, and accurate scales with which to weight your packages. And the thing is, larger shipments will call for more sophisticated equipment, but this should provide a reassurance to small startups that preparing packaging for shipment to an Amazon center doesn't need to be complicated, okay? Not at all. And one thing I want to say here is that if you believe this is too complicated, you do have third-party packaging and prep services that will help you out. You have companies that are out there, they'll just help you out. They do everything for you. They'll just they'll do all the prep work. They'll contact Amazon FBA services. That way you're just like, you're just safe. Like, you just take your time to actually focus on selling on Amazon as opposed to doing the back office work, which is like, the admin, the shipping, and all that kind of stuff. So if this is not really something you are interested in, you want to outsource it. Just outsource the whole thing. It's just a lot easier that way. And before we actually close to this conversation, I want to really recap. I want to talk about a few things. There are a few questions that we actually got while preparing for this show, and I just want to make sure that I just cover those one more time. Okay, so in terms of packing your items for Amazon FBA, it really depends on what items you're packing, okay, and how they need to be delivered. I want you to think about this duality. What are the nature of the items, and how you want those items to be delivered. So if your items are sold in sets, boxes, units, or cases, you need to package them accordingly. If your items are specialized, you need to follow a different set of requirements. You want to start first with the general Amazon packaging requirements that I just laid down for you, and then you want to narrow down what applies to you. And in terms of Amazon packaging, your Amazon packaging needs to meet size, material, and labeling criteria. And this criteria depends on the product you are sending and how you want to send them, okay, individually instead of case packed. So again, going back to the shipping method. So if your products are specialized or have expiry date, if they have expiration dates, you will also need to meet other set of requirements, okay, which I just explained to you. And so in terms of the types of packaging that Amazon does use, Amazon is pretty clear in terms of how you pack your boxes, label your products, and effectively use polybags so that your inventory is properly processed through Amazon's fulfillment centers. So the types of packaging accepted will depend again on your items and their size, okay? Very important. And in terms of the sizes of Amazon boxes, they really vary greatly depending on the products being shipped. So Amazon FBA requirements are focused more on durable materials, proper labeling, and whether they can survive drop test. Those are very important drop tests. And so the Amazon FBA requirements for labels include a 50 character limit, no special characters, okay? The exact product titles, don't shorten them, and use capital letters, but not all caps, okay? And so Amazon, don't forget though, and this will be the end of today's conversation, Amazon does provide you with packaging materials, and this can actually include polybags, boxes, stretch wrap, bubble packs, and more. And some U.S. sellers, they also get free supplies for shipment. Okay, they actually can get this from shipment providers like UPS, FedEx, and USPS if they use their services. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Today's video was a long conversation about Amazon FBA packaging tutorial, and we actually give you lots of good info. I hope this really added value. I will speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.